Hi there, and welcome to the College of Graduate Studies series on how to format your thesis and your dissertation.
In this series, we're going to show you the most common mistakes that we are facing as a graded assistant in formatting thesis and dissertation.
And we're also going to show you how to fix those mistakes using Microsoft Word in order to be able to move from this, a thesis filled with notes,
to perfect thesis or dissertation.
So let's begin.
Now we're going to show you how to find template and guidelines for thesis and dissertation. In order to find it, you have to go to UAE website and sign in. Go to your UAE portal, go to colleges, College of Graduate Study you have to choose. And after this, you have to choose students. And this section you can find all important forms and templates guidelines for the students. So here you can find sample thesis template and sample thesis dissertation template.
Now that you have downloaded the template, which should look something like this, let's explore those mistakes. Starting with the cover page, the first thing you have to check is the margins of the cover page. The margins of the cover page should be 2.5 from the top, 2.5 from the right, 2.5 from the bottom, and 4 centimeters from the left. Another common mistake our students face while doing the cover pages is that they write the college name, the department name, and the program title wrongly. Now, in order to be able to find those, all you have to do is to... Now, to guarantee that you have the department name, the title of the program name correctly, you have to go back again to the portal and look for the official degree titles and department names. You click on that, and all of the department names and all of the program names will be there. So all you have to do is just to copy from here and paste it back in your thesis, in the department name and the program title. Now, a second mistake our students do is the spacing between these pieces of information. The template already have the spacing correctly, so try as much as possible to stay like that. If you feel that you have to have some changes, try to eyeball it and try to have everything positioned as in the templates.
So if you want to avoid the mistakes that we mentioned before for the cover page, you can do it in this way. Just select the cover page, click on layout, choose line numbers and continues. So you can see here, like each sentence is matching to the number. You can check it through the guidelines, page number 22 and 23. It's written actually which number should match to the which sentence. So once you're sure that it's all correct and it's matching with the guidelines number 22, page number 22, then it means that your cover page doesn't have the spacing mistakes.
The last mistake our student does is writing the date wrong. First thing you have to keep in mind is that you have to write a name of the month, not the name of the semester. It's not spring, it's not fall, it's either June, July, April, and so on. And it has to be the month that you defended your thesis or your dissertation, and of course the year.
We are moving to the next page, which is declaration of original work here. The only change you have to do is that you have to put your correct name, which should match with the cover pages. And you have to change the thesis title, and it should be italic. The next changes you have to do is that you have to put your supervisor name. That's it. You shouldn't do any other changes because it is just legal statement. That's why.
The next page that you have to do is the advisory committee page. Now, this page you can actually take off if you only have one advisor, which is your main advisor. If you have a main advisor and co-advisor, you have to remove it. If you have many advisors, which is the case, some of our students have advisors from outside the university, you have to fill in this page. As you can see here, the main information that we are looking for in this page is the name of the supervisor or the name of the advisor, their department, their college, and where they come from. In case of advisors that are outside the university, you have to actually mention the university name and where it's located. Now the next page that you have to do is the approval for master page. This is a mandatory page and you have to fill everything correctly before your thesis defense because it has to be signed at the date of your thesis defense. As you can see here, you have to fill in your supervisor's name, the university name, and the location of that university. For the external member, you have to keep in mind that you have to write the university name and the location of that university, even though it's from the United Arab Emirates, because this thesis or dissertation will be published online and people from all over the world will be looking at it. Some people might not know where this institute is located, so it's always better to have the location the external examiner comes from.
So the next page we are moving on is the page after the approval of the master thesis before abstract. The only changes you have to do in this page is that you have to put the name of the dean of your college, and also you have to put the name of the dean of the College of Graduate Study. Also you have to make sure that you are not making any changes between the space between the lines. The next pages we are moving on is the abstract. Abstract shouldn't be more than 1 page. Also, besides, you have to focus on the keywords. Keywords, if you are choosing to start each word with a capital letter, then you have to be consistent. Otherwise, you have to be consistent with the small letters. You shouldn't do any changes in space between the lines and try to follow template.
After finishing with the English abstract, you have to provide your abstract in Arabic. As you can see here, the page starts with the title and abstract in Arabic. You shouldn't remove this. It has to be there because it will appear in the table of contents. One of the mistakes that our students face is that they actually delete it, and once they update their table of contents, it's not there. Another thing you should know is that we don't provide translation for abstracts. You have to translate your own abstracts. If you are not able to, then your supervisor should. If he can't, then he can ask a colleague. And make sure that it's consistent with what you have in English, because we'll actually read and go through it and we can see the difference. Keep in mind that everything that you applied in your English abstracts is applied in the Arabic abstracts in terms of font size, in terms of spacing, line spacing, and in terms of indentation and also page margins. Now, if you face the problem of having untranslated words, such as medical terms, bacteria names, and so on, you can actually put those in between brackets.
Dedication page, you have to keep sentence as short as possible, and plus it has to be in italic.
Now we move on to the part that most of the students actually do a lot of mistakes in. As you can see, it's the table of content. Now the first thing you have to keep in mind is that the table of content should have all of these listed, except for, of course, the advisory committee. In case you don't have any of those, it should be removed from here and removed from the other pages. Otherwise, everything here should be there.
So if you don't have co-advisor or member, you have to remove advisory committee page from your thesis or dissertation. In order to do that, you have to just go to the advisory committee page and remove this page. But this change is not going to appear in your table of content. You have to update the table of contents entirely.
Also, one of the other mistakes that our students do is that when they do their chapters and their sections, they are all aligned at the same line. That's not correct. You have to leave a space between, for example, if you have a chapter, then the second section, it has to be moved a little bit to the right so that we can differentiate between chapters, section 2, section 3, and so on. Now, College of Graduate Studies requires only up to 3 headings or 3 sections. If you have more, then it's fine. You can include them. Otherwise, up to 3 is more than satisfactory for the College of Graduate Studies. Now, one other mistake that we see a lot from our students is the fact that their text in the titles, it's too close to the numbers. And we're going to show you how to fix that.
The space between the text and the page number should be at least 1.5 centimeter. So in order to fix that, you have to just simply press space and until it will go down. But here, this issue is that the sentence should align with the other sentence. It shouldn't be under the index numbers. So again, we can just easily fix it by using the ruler. Just we have to drag ruler and put the text under the text. This is how it should look like. Same here, you can just easily go and press space. Doing it manually, you can do it. So if you are facing with such issue, like here you can see there is a big space between these words, you can just easily go to the number index and press right alignment. You see, we fix easily the issue. So for fixing this issue, we just easily dragging ruler so the text can be under the text. Now I'm gonna show you how to fix the table of contents automatically if your sentence is too close to the page number. So this is the example. As we can see, this word, it's too close to the page number, and we told like the space between the page number and word should be at least 1.5 centimeter. So in order to fix that, you have to just press on it on the right side, click, and go to the paragraph, and indentation, choose after text 1.5 centimeter. 1.5. Press OK. So after it's here, gonna appear something black. You have to just move this one. You see? It's fixed. Same here, just move this. That's it.
Now, if you have everything aligned perfectly, like section 1 with section 1, section 2 with section 2, section 3 with section 3, you have to go on and check the titles. If you have your titles all capitalized, every title should be all capitalized. If the first word is only capitalized, then everything should be also the same thing. What we're looking for here is consistency, so don't give us one of each. It has to be the same formatting all of them. What you also have to look for is the numbering of your sections. Sometimes we have students missing numbers. For example, if they have section 1.1, 1.2, they jump directly to 1.4 and they're missing the 1.3 part. So you have to again look for it and adjust it if you have a mistake in it.
So in order to update your table of contents, you have to just select your table of content, go to the reference and update table. So if you're sure that you finish all the chapters and subheadings and there is no changes you're gonna do, you can just update entire table, so once, so every changes will appear in your table of content. But later, if you decided to add some text or add something in your thesis or dissertation, and some of your tables or some of your, I don't know, the chapters will move to the next pages, you have to just simply not update your table entirely. You have to just update the page numbers only, because you are not doing any changes in your chapters or subheadings. You are doing changes only in your page numbers. So just please, once you finish all the chapters and you updated entire table and then you add something and your page numbers changed, you have to just update page numbers, because if you're gonna do again update entire table, the format of the table of contents gonna change. I'm gonna show you what I mean by this. So for example, in list of tables, it's same applied. You have to just make sure that you did all captions, you change captions for the table and figures. And now you have to move to the list of tables and update the table because you did some changes. So you see, if we will update entire table, it's gonna change. It's gonna go to the wrong format of the list of tables, because we ask for you is the alignment of text under the text, but here you see it's wrong. So as I showed you before, you have to just fix it by dragging the ruler and put text under the text.
Now the next page that you have to do is the list of tables. Similar to the table of contents, one of the most common mistakes we see here is that the title is so close to the page number. What you have to do here is to leave at least 1.5 centimeters space between the text and the page number as well. One other mistake that we see a lot is that students duplicate the tables. For example, they have table 1, table 2, table 3, table 3. Please read through your tables and make sure that none of them is duplicated. One other mistake our students do is that sometimes you have a caption that is so long and it has several parts. What you need to do there is that you have a general statement about the table and put it in list of tables and then keep it as it is in text. One other mistake our student does is that sometimes they bring tables from sources and they do put the sources in the list of tables. Again, it's wrong. You have to remove it from the list of tables and keep it inside the text. And also you have to keep in mind that if your caption is spanning on 2 sentences, then both of the sentences have to be aligned to each other. Another common mistake that our student does is that when their caption spans into 2 sentences, then they align the second sentence with the table. That is wrong. You have to align it with the first word of the sentence or the caption. In the list of figure page, most of the common mistakes we see in the list of tables apply actually here. So to recap, all you have to do here is that you don't include references. Your text should not be so close to the page number, the alignment of the sentences, and if you have a caption that is too long, try to shorten it by having a general statement in the caption, in the list of figures, and then leave it as it is inside the text.
So you can see this, the sentence is continuing under the table. It shouldn't be like this. So in order to fix this problem, mistake, you have to just simply go to the text, beginning of the text, and drag by ruler and align it under the text. This is what we are asking, and this is what we want to see in your list of table. Same, it shouldn't be so close to the page number. This is fine, you can just leave it like this. And same apply for the list of tables. This text should be aligned under the text, so it shouldn't go under the figure.
In the list of abbreviation page, we always face 2 mistakes our student does. The first one is that they do their abbreviations not ordered alphabetically. You have to order them alphabetically, and if you have any Roman symbols, you can either place them at the top of the list or at the bottom. Now, the second mistake is that when they actually write what the abbreviation is, sometimes they capitalize only the first letter and keep the other letters small, which is fine, but sometimes they write everything capital letter, which is wrong. Again, you have to be consistent. If you choose to only capitalize the first word, then capitalize the first word in all of the abbreviation. If you choose to capitalize every single word in the abbreviated sentence, then you have to capitalize everything in the same manner.
Usually list of abbreviations should be in alphabetical order. So this is actually a table. It's not just text sentence. We put on the table, so we want you to follow the template and be consistent with it and do as it is in the template. But it should be in alphabetic order. So in order to do that, just select the table, list of abbreviation, and go to the, as you can see, there is this option. You can just select it and press OK. So it will be on alphabetic order. Now we're moving to the chapter 1, which is the important and biggest part of the thesis or dissertation. In the chapter 1, we have to pay attention on the title headings. That first headings, like chapter 1, should be in headings 1, like here, I will show you, and the subtitle should be in heading 2. Next point you have to pay attention is that spacing between the headings and the sentence. You have to be consistent, and you shouldn't just close the sentence with a title. For figures and tables, I can say that you have to make sure you are consistent with the position of the table or figures. You have to choose either the middle side or the right side when you are putting picture on the table. Next point is that you have to pay attention on the index of your headings. And if you are doing it manually, you have to make sure it's like 2.1 and then 2.2 coming. But if you are doing automatically, then you no need to check it. Also, you have to make sure that the capture for the figure should be under the figure, but capture for the table should be before the table.
One mistake that we always see with our students' thesis and dissertation is the distance between the text and the captions of the tables and the figures, and also the distance between the caption itself and the table and the figure. Again, you have to be consistent all the way through your thesis. If you have, for example, 1 centimeter distance between the caption of the table or the figure and the table and the figure, it has to be 1 centimeter throughout your thesis and your dissertation. One other mistakes our students do in formatting the paragraph is that they sometimes have bolds and italics inside the paragraph. The paragraph should have Times New Roman as a font type, it has to be double spaced, and the font size should be 12. If you want to include italic, you can include it only if you have a scientific terms such as bacteria names, species name, and so on. You don't have to use bold. Now, if you have a table that is too long and it spans on so many pages, don't worry. All you have to do is that you have to cut the table where the page ends and then start the table with the new caption, the same caption again, you will repeat it, and you have to add the word continued. And also you have to repeat the headings of the table so that the reader can know actually what they are looking for instead of just going back and forth between the pages. The same thing applies for figures. Sometimes you come with a figure that has so many parts and these parts are so big. So again, if you have a figure that spans in multiple pages, you have to repeat the caption with the word continued. Now, one more thing that we always see with our students is the fact that they always forget to mention or to reference their tables and figures inside the text. Make sure that your tables and figures are actually referenced in the text and they are so close to the table and the figures it's referenced. For example, if you reference table 1 in page 1, you don't place table 1 in page 10 or page 9. It has to be at least 3 to 2 pages away. Now, regarding your text, make sure that it's always justified so that all the text is within the margin. This will make your thesis or dissertation looks way good. With your thesis and dissertation, each chapter should start with a new page. If you, for example, have chapter 1 and it ends at the top of the page, then you don't include chapter 2 at the same page. You just include another page and chapter 2 should start at the beginning of the new page. If you obtain a figure or a table from a reference, which is sometimes the case, you have to refer to that reference in the caption of the table or the figure. Again, you include the reference in the caption in text and you don't include it in this list of tables or list of figures. Sometimes the tables are so big, so we tend to minimize the size of the font inside so that we can fit it at least in one page or less. If you have to reduce the size of the font, you can reduce it up to 8 bits. Below that, it's not acceptable. The same goes for the figures. The minimum size of the text on the figure should be 8. If you can't do it, then unfortunately you have to do it manually. And it has to be clear. The resolution of the figure should be the clearest possible so that every detail, every single detail is clear for the reader.
So in order to put caption for figure, you can just easily do it automatically by pressing references, insert caption, and choose if it's table or figure. So if it's figure, we're just choosing figure and pressing on OK. So you can see it's automatically showing figure 1. It will make your work easier because after this, when you will try to do list of figure, it will automatically appear on your list of figure. For the table, however, the caption should be above the table. And same again, for doing caption for the table, automatically you have to just go to reference, insert caption, and choose not figure. You see it's figure 2, but this is table 1. So we are choosing table.
If you have a table that spans in 2 or more pages, you have to cut that table so that the reader will know what the table is talking about. See in here in our example, if the reader comes and read here, he or she will never know what is this about. So in this case, you have to repeat the table headers and the table caption. To do so, you have to go back to the place where your table will start at the second page. You cut that part, then you select it again and delete it. Okay. Now you add a space and you add another space and you paste your table, and there you have it. Now we need to add a new row so that we can add the table headings into that. So you go to your table layout and you choose insert above. Again, you go to your table headings, select them, copy them, and then paste them here. Okay, now that we have our headings repeated, we have to repeat the table caption. In table captioning, all you have to do is just to copy the caption itself. You don't have to copy the table and the table number. You just copy the caption. you go back to the space we left before and you type in the table number and paste the table caption. Now here there is a crucial step that you should add, which is the word continued. This indicates that this table is part of the previous table, and now the reader will know what is this table is talking about, and they have their heading and they have everything that they need. As we mentioned before, you cannot include two chapters at the same page. You can see that chapter 4 ended with half of a page, and we want to start with chapter 5. Chapter 5 should start with a new page. Now to do so, all you have to do is to select chapter 5 with its naming, and you go and select heading 1. If you are using the template, these styles are already presetted for you, so all you have to do is just select the style. And you will get to a new page with the new chapter in it. Of course, everything that comes after the chapter, it depends. We chose heading 1 here, so we choose heading 2 here. And you can see that with the different styles, there are differences in like the spacing, the type of the font, the bold, whether it's bold or not. Now, if you don't have the template and you want to add the chapter yourself, you go and select the chapter, you click on it, you go to paragraph, and then in line and page breaks, you tick on page break before and you click OK. Now you can see that the new chapter starts with a new page. If you want this formatting to match the one that we have here, you just select chapter 4, you go to the copy formatting, and you select chapter 5. See? The same applies here. If you're done with this step, don't forget to update your table of content because you want to include the new chapter and the new subheadings of that chapter. Now to do so, it's an easy task. We showed it to you before, but we'll show you once more. You go to your table of content, right-click on it, go to Update Field, and a new window will appear to promote either updating the page number only or update the entire table. Now since we added the new headings and the new chapters, we need to update entire table. You press OK, and you can see that our chapter is included. Now we've reached the part where you'll have the least work of all. This is the referencing part. In referencing, we don't actually look for one particular referencing style. It's up to you to choose your own, but we ask for minimal data. We always recommend that you use a referencing software such as Zotero or EndNote. It will make your life easier, and we always suggest to our students that stay away from manual as much as possible, because if we ask you to do some changes, you will have to do them all by your hand, and it will take a lot of time. Part of referencing is the in-text referencing. In in-text referencing, again, you can use any referencing style you prefer, but we are actually looking for a few things there. One of the things we look for, sometimes our students comes with the paper that contains a lot of authors, and they list them all again and again and again and again if they use it in multiple places. If you have such a reference, all you have to do is just mention everyone at the first time, and then when you reference them again, you just use the first author and then use the word et al. It will make your life easier, it will reduce the text, and it will make your thesis looks better. Now, if you have a piece of information and you reference multiple authors, all you have to do is just, depending again on the referencing style you do, but what we usually see is people using the author's name. So what you have to do is that mention the author, comma, the year, and then you put a semicolon, and then the other authors. If you're using a referencing style that uses numbers instead of using the first author's name, then all you have to do is just list the number. If that piece of information you obtained from a range of references, let's say references 1 all the way to 10, you don't have to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 all the way till 10. All you have to do is just write 1-10. And of course you list the other references if you have any. What comes after it is the patent page and the publication page. If you have any patent or publication, list them there. If you don't, then just remove the page and that's it. Now we've reached the last part of your thesis and dissertation, which is the appendix. In the appendix, you can include text, tables, figures. Every formatting scheme we mentioned regarding the text inside, it applies also in the appendices.
Now we reached to the end of the video, and if you need any help, please don't hesitate to contact us.
Our graduate assistant will be more than happy to help you in formatting your thesis and your dissertation.
And I would like to tell you that please don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel for updates news.